the grass. Among jade grass blades, even mighty Bodhi trees must share the same earth. On a stairway in Luang Prabang, step as you will through life, 1,000 ways, 1,000 places. Carry a home in your heart, or seek the door where your soul will always smile. Do you climb great mountains just to leave them unchanged? One day, the heights of Holy Fusi will lay as soft valleys, and we, only memories. But our children's children, will they too have reason to smile, like those dreaming strangers who built their stairs for us? Ironies. After 40 years of poetry, I learned at least 100 words in no less than 2 tons, unique to our journey as refugees, to fill vacuums and bloody gaps of our disrupted histories. Recovering families, dismantling enemies, identifying the official tools of allies bombing us for our own good, the policies of destruction and resettlement, how to win hearts and minds in diaspora. From DC to Modesto, Anchorage to the Twin Cities, walking into 1,000 classrooms, strangers to the beauty of Vientiane, Savannah Khet, a heartfelt sub-IDE. Gathering ink storm clouds to change worlds, one poem still can't tell my whole story. A seal story. If you know your Laomerican history, in our early years, you could rarely visit a home without a picture of those U.S. seals on the shore, holding the corpse of a sacred knock. It was as common as Eric Enstrom's Grace, praying at the table with that book and bread. The other day, I came across an article claiming they were simply Navy trainees in San Diego, with a giant oarfish from the deep, nothing more. I showed it to Ajahn, who shook his head sadly. Even in death, Payanak must hide who he truly was, so close to America. Interesting times. Ajahn pulled me aside one saffron morning after the chanting with a secret he wanted to share, like a war in the tropics. If Americans visit Laos, they'll never be president. Just ask Hubert Humphrey, Hillary Clinton, Ross Perot, David Duke, and John Kerry. My memory is fuzzy, but I also suspect John McCain. Obama was already president when he went, so that doesn't count, but we can watch to see what legacy remains. It won't necessarily be emails or Benghazi, swift boats, or an obscure faux pas, skip and fly over country like the Motor City. But the ghosts of Lanchan have a habit of doing in even your most elaborate political machinations. That's a weird way to dissuade tourists and expats. We do what we can against corruption and extinction, fallen skies and blind ambition. He asked me to explain Steinbeck's Of Mice and Men, a tattered copy someone left behind a lifetime ago. We might as well have been east of Eden. Ajahn Bryan, what is a Lao poet? Ink face, paper bones on a cluttered bookshelf shaking the cosmos. Some days it is hard to compete against the smoke of wine country barbecues, let alone those titanic croaking frogs, absolutely determined to eat a wondrous moon of arts and letters. Still, we make our noise and smile. Returning. Growing up in the Midwest in the 1980s, I ran into the idea of there and back again, of shires and armies and the mistakes of old men, to say nothing of monsters, of magic, an appreciation for roads and places undreamt by youth from Vientiane, the realm of a million elephants. Going on the road or on travels with Charlie seemed so far away, even as the poet's road became mine. The other day, I drove past acres of olives, almonds, and wine, to ports filled with coffee and fish, dancers from Lanchan. There was a stop in Missoula, a memory of vows and naturalization. A hot dog under big sky, hounds barking like Cerberus, keep going. In Sturgis, they love motorcycles and handguns. In Wall, there's jackalopes and plague-ridden prairie dogs. I wake up in the Midwest again, visiting Toothy Kaiju, a rusting robot from the future. I cannot tell you anymore who was invading, who was defending. A singer I know found fame beneath a clown's grease paint, while I tell you of stars I know where I'll never set foot. Memory is a writhing hydra, yet I fear this poem most when it is Hercules with a sputtering torch. My Secret War Within, the first film in the world to feature Lao was Chang, by the man who would one day film King Kong with ample Fei Ray. He never returned to the airs of Lanchan, but he died among New Year's and April Fools in the year I was born, when covert American bombs stopped falling like steel rain over the realm of a million elephants. Dr. Dooley played Dumbo for us in the hills, flying pachyderms and talking crows, useless feathers, something about belief, while ravens, fans of Poe, dug into the plain of jars as we made our fresh ghosts for the next generation. I never understood their stories until years later, when my father, almost dead from 1,000 smokes, referred to them as heroes, pointing to a portrait of a young boy who could have been me in another un-American lifetime by these men, M16 in hand, smiling for a reporter's camera. On the edge of Detroit, I grew up among Godzilla films, the aliens of UHF, alarming, relentless, a comfort more family than the silent faces of Apocalypse Now, or slinky women who promised love for a long time if I understood American dollars and full metal jackets. My teacher tries to show me the Joy Luck Club, Laomerica. Here is the truth of who you are, surely. I return to alien nation, enemy mine, they live, the thing. My love says I can't talk my story talking about other people's films. No one's seen half of what you watched. No one's seen half of what I lived, I reply, trying to shred my life into ink just to remain. Matty Doe made a ghost movie the other day, Chantilly, shows me. We can't talk about half of the worlds we've had, our wars gone by, her crazed ghosts, mine. Little Laos on the Prairie magazine gets a letter from a man who says he wants to make a movie about our war, says he knows a great place to shoot in Hawaii, same but different, spread the word, send some cash. He has a cause, his special vision, if not the facts. I lost his number and cast my father's ashes into the Mississippi. The last I heard, he now wished he'd spoken to assassins instead.